You're listening to The Village Thrives, a podcast about parenting and community. If you like this episode, be sure to hit like and subscribe. Go on then, you know you want to. Well, hello and welcome back to The Village Thrives. I'm Donna Rucco with Christina Guerrero and Bradley Hazemeyer as usual. And hi guys, it's always fun to get back on with you guys, you know, to see you, to hear you, to be with you, to have these conversations.
I love taking a break from my kids so that I can come on here and talk about my kids. You ever get on the airplane and just like so excited to like have some time to yourself and then you end up just watching videos of your kids? Is it just me?
I've heard of people doing that.
Guilty.
I am a lot easier to compartmentalize my life. So I can just, when I'm away, I'm away. And when I'm home. And
Nice.
I can live that way. There's not a lot of this cross-pollination that I think impacts the female brain a lot more, which makes you guys really good at lots of things at once. Whereas I'm just like caveman, push the rock, push the rock.
But we also get lots of overwhelmed. We get overwhelmed, I think,
right?
Because there's so much input.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Today we are going to be talking about different parenting styles. This should be quite interesting.
Yeah, this is kind of a hot topic.
It is. And it's something we kind of don't think about, but we do in terms of like, am I doing this right? Parenting doesn't come with a manual. So we're asking the question every parent secretly wonders. What kind of parent am I actually? Whether it's strict, chill, I don't know, helicopter. And to be honest, it could be depending on what day it is. You could have a different style on a different day, right? So as usual, we like to kind of look back on our childhood ourselves and look at how our parents and how our upbringing was. So what would you say your parents' parenting style was growing up? Christina.
Absent. They really
no fair. That's
such
a quick, easy answer. You don't have to say anything. They weren't even there.
Bradley.
Yeah, moving on. Okay, great. Yeah, no, good note. Good note. So just be better than that, and you're already winning. Breaking the generational curse of just show up. That's an A.
Just
Welcome.
show up, right? Like the bar was set. No, that's not fair. That's not fair. I mean, certainly like single mom. So one parent was definitely absent.
Yep.
But my mom was also a working mom, right? There was 5 kids, working mom. So there was this kind of level of absenteeism, not by choice, but she had to work,
you had
right?
no choice.
So
you had no choice, literally. Yeah.
So we very much raised ourselves. And I will say that while trauma certainly has ensued, there is an independence that I can attribute to that, right? I learned very young how to manage my life, how to take care of things, how to get things done. You know, we were babysitting my younger siblings. I knew how to, make dinners. I knew how to do all of these things because we really had to work as a family. My mom went out to work. We stayed home. And if grandma was around, we were with grandma, but if she wasn't, it was like Lord of the Flies.
How many siblings was that again? Like, what would that look like?
5 of us. So there's 5 of us, and my older sister, then I fall next in line. So the 2 older ones, and then there was 3 still younger ones. So I was like 15 when my little brother was born. So
wow.
Yeah, so it really ran the gamut. We were absolutely like raising kids and stuff. So
yeah,
that's kind of how we rolled.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what I imagine like homesteaders did, way back, like Laura Ingalls Wilder days, where it was kind of like, they had 15 kids and, dad worked the farm and, the older brothers were out there working and the usually the daughters were helping mom with the younger kids because there was so much manual labor involved in those days, hand washing clothes, hand washing dishes, making food from scratch, so like you had a big family because everyone supported each other in that way, right?
Pitch in. Yeah.
You had to pitch in. That was it.
Yeah.
And so, I think obviously our times have changed and those things have become easier, but that is, but to your point, like that just because it was hard doesn't mean it was bad from the standpoint of like, it really, you took what that was and it informed who you were. It doesn't define who you are, but it informed who you were. And even today, like I think about, you may not have even had the independence to move to LA, right? When
Right.
you
I
were
was
like,
still on my own. Yeah.
I want to be crazy. I'm going to be a person on TV. No one around you was doing that, but you had built up those muscles because of like, you had to without even knowing it. And then when you had that idea, it wasn't crazy to you. It was to everyone else, but
Right.
not you. So
Well, because
that's
I
kind
knew
of
how to
cool.
I knew how to like take care of myself by then.
Yeah.
Right. I knew how
Yeah.
to
You're like,
do my own
okay,
laundry and get a job and do all the things.
no problem. 16. Great. Live on your own. Right.
Totally. Yeah.
We had it a little bit different. We had a little bit more of that traditional, dad worked the 9 to 5, mom stayed at home. I'm one of 3. I think parenting was, our parents are products of their parents, just like our kids are products of us. And they pick and choose what they want to keep and what they want to leave. And my parents consciously did that. We were spanked. That was a thing in the South, very common thing. It was used as a way to deter you from doing that thing again. Don't hit your sister, but I can hit you. So there comes some questioning
Mixed
in
messages.
there around that
Right.
logic. Is it because you're mad at me, or are you trying to teach me a lesson? I think you're just pissed. I don't think you really care if I learn something right now.
Wait, was the spanking with a hand? Was there like this? Because
Yeah.
spanking,
Oh, that's a whole thing too, right? Yeah.
right? It was like if we saw the belt and it was like a snap of the belt, it wasn't
Oh,
just the belt.
yeah.
It was like,
Yeah. Indiana Jones style.
yeah, we're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
somebody's
This
in deep
is
trouble.
yeah, and it turns out it's you. What?
Yeah,
I know. No.
totally,
We might
totally.
have been the last generation for that to have been a thing. That's not to say that people don't do that today, but nowadays it's kind
Oh,
of
it's
like,
definitely still a thing. I live in the South. That's definitely a thing. I don't think it's as common, but
yeah,
it's not, I wouldn't call it rare. I don't know what the percentage is. That's probably a Google search, but
That is an interesting question. Also,
yeah.
people aren't. If they are doing it, they're probably not talking about it.
mm,
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
there was a time where, like, spanking was a thing that was very
yeah.
common.
Yeah.
Now, you know what? If we're gonna do that, we're probably not gonna talk about it.
Yeah, you're just smoking outside. You're like, we were spanking Bradley the other day, and while we were there, we saw the Miller Light truck came in and dropped everything. It was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I was spanking my kid too. Us
Yeah.
kids need spankings.
There's a fine line between discipline and child abuse. So I
Yeah.
think that now it's
Yeah.
like, ugh.
Yes.
We certainly don't want to joke about it, but the spanking of our generation and before that was certainly how you were disciplined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think some of that came from because when Kirsten and I got together, it was like, I was raised that way. Is that what we're gonna do? And so we had to have conversations around like, that doesn't feel right, but why? Are we just afraid of it? Is it social pressures? Like, what's our theology or philosophy behind that? And part of it was, in at least in the Southern Christian culture, it's this idea of spare the rod, spoil the child. This like old proverb that people, still kind of go to and point to as like, this is why we do it. Or at least this is one reason that people would point to. But then when you really look at the context of it, it's not the physical spare the rod. It is that if you give no discipline, if there's no consequences, you do whatever you want. You run free. We're never going to say no to you. You run out in the street and get hit, you learn. We're not going to punish you. You made a mistake, whatever. And that, some people, I think, and we'll get into this in a second, but a lot of people consider that what is currently kind of like the hot topic of parenting, this idea of gentle parenting. But people confuse that with permissive, meaning there's no responsibility. So anyway, all that to say, that was something we had to kind of figure out on our own. Like, because I have nieces and nephews that are spanked. I know people, in our neighborhood, that's just the way that they punish. That's the way that they discipline. Let's say it's
Right.
discipline, not even punishment. We'll just, give them a better spin on it. But yeah, so that's what I came from. And there was no real talk of it. It was just kind of used as a way to deter you from that.
Yeah.
But I will say, there's other things in parenting. Again, when you come together with a partner and you start a family, it's just like the merger of two businesses. And you have to decide, like, what are we going to be about? What are we good at? What are we not? And my parents talked me through that when they merged, if you will, and brought things from their families that they left behind. Alcoholism, a child doesn't speak unless they're spoken to. Like, these were rules in their house. And they were like,
Mhm.
no. So they really, stepped it up and grew those things, but you have to kind of figure out, where do you land on that? And why do you land on that? But growing up, that was just a part of how he did it. One of the other things that growing up in terms of like discipline, was go to your room, go to your room and
Yeah.
whatever. And then I think they just realized like the room, I love my room. I have fish in the room. I feed my fish, like I had Nintendo. Like, yeah, it's like, this is actually great. Can I just go to my room on purpose? So, but that was another kind of form of punishment.
So would you say your parents were strict, lenient, a bit of both?
Here's the thing too that changes, and you guys can maybe speak to this too. Birth order. I'm the firstborn. My parents raised a totally different brother of mine than they did me. He had totally different parents. They looked the same. They had the same names, same social security numbers, but they lived through it. They knew what mattered. They were like, actually, that's fine. Okay, be late 10 minutes, not a big deal. Why are we going to die on that hill? And so, that happens a lot of times just because it's your first kid. You're trying to figure it out. And so, I would say that like they were very strict with me. And then when it came to my brother, I even came home one time after living in LA on my own, mind you, for 6 or 7 years. And it was like 10 o'clock. My mom's like, you should probably come home. It's almost 10 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, cool. Where's Chandler? I was thinking like, where's he? She's like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, what? I'm 6 years older than him. I've lived on my own in LA now for 6 years and I need to be home. I have the curfew because that's still how they see me,
Isn't that funny that it doesn't
Classic.
matter what age you are, your parents kind of click into this way of being and treating you. And sometimes that happens with you. When you go back home, you kind of click and settle back into a certain way of being.
Yeah, with your friends and with your parents. Yeah.
It's just so funny. But that was a funny example, Bradley, of how that even in adulthood, you're still kind of
still the kid, still the firstborn. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're going to get a different level of attention.
How do they do it in London town?
Yeah.
Sorry,
how
what'd you say?
Do it over there?
Oh,
how they do it in London town?
Well, a little bit of what you were saying, Bradley. Definitely. So my mum and dad, I would live with my mum, and would see my dad every other weekend. And I would say that my dad was lenient. He was just, I just don't think he really had, he was young. He was really young when I was born. But I just remember that there weren't as many rules as there were with my mum. And then because my grandparents helped my mum a lot, I had my nan and granddad that I was around a lot. They were very old school and traditional, and it was children are seen and not heard. And very, I would say, disciplined. My granddad was in the army. He was World War II. So he had a very disciplined way of being. Things had to be just so. My nan was very, I love my nan. She was, I always call her Mary Poppins because she had that there's a firmness about her.
We met her. Christina, you met her, yeah? Did you ever meet
Christine probably would have.
Yes,
yeah. Oh, she is totally Mary Poppins is a great way to describe her. Such a sweetheart.
Yeah. But she was very firm but very loving and very warm and just very sweet. Just a real sweetheart. My mum, again, this is where it's a little bit like Christina. My mum was working a lot. But when I was home with her, I would say very, what's the word? Disciplined. There were strong boundaries. I definitely had boundaries. There was things that I'd want to do that my other friends were doing that I wouldn't be allowed to do. I just felt very much, but I wouldn't say she was strict. I still had some freedom, but not as much freedom as my friends. So
like, didn't you have that friend who like got to do everything and you were so jelly? I had those friends where I'm like,
of course,
what? But then, maybe life didn't turn out so great.
Those are facts right there. That is facts.
Boundaries.
Yeah. When you're a child, you don't realize how important boundaries are, and you just think your parents are trying to fence you in. Like, when
Yeah.
I get out of here, I am going to fly the nest and I'm going to do all the things I can't do now. You just watch me. And then you become a
Yeah.
parent. And you're like, no, you can't do that. You mustn't do this. And you find yourself repeating certain behaviors,
Yeah.
which is a great segue into how have you incorporated or have you incorporated your parents' parenting styles into how you parent today? Or have you created new ways?
I think for me, I wish I often think I should be incorporating, interestingly enough, more of my mom's parenting style. Um, and she would never say it was a style. It's just, right? Like, isn't that, we call it a style now, but like, um, the independence and the independence that I had, right? And that I could, um, sustain myself at such a young age has served me in my life. And with my two boys, I find I need to be doing more of that and am not. And I always think like today's going to be the day that I teach them, right? That and then
Independent. They're
I'm
going
like
to
this
learn
is
it today. It's going to be one
today's the
day.
day.
They'll learn it and we'll move on.
And I just find I don't know, I find it so hard. My mom didn't have a choice, right?
Right.
I have a choice.
Right.
And so I just sometimes, I mean, my kids are 12 and 6, right? So, but by 12 years old, I certainly was making dinner and cleaning the whole house and doing all the
Yeah.
things. And my kid, I'm asking him to, empty the dishwasher. And he's like, oh my God.
And
Right?
then
Like I had him
when
go
I
make
was
his own
your
breakfast.
age, in the back of your head, and you're like, don't go there yet. I'm not old enough to use that line yet.
1000%. And I'm like, I'm like, hey, go. He's like, I'm hungry, mom. Well, go figure out how to make yourself something to eat. And those are the things where I'm like, that's where I'm doing him a disservice. And so I wish I was incorporating more of that for sure.
So
That's
what
good.
parenting style do you have with your boys, would you say, Christina? Would you say you're a disciplinarian? Are you laid back? Would you be able to categorize?
Yeah, my husband's definitely more of the disciplinarian. I'm a cross between, I would say, gentle parenting and disciplinarian. Is there one like right in the
Okay.
middle? Because my kids
Okay.
definitely know, like, I have a look and you will not
Ooh.
cross me
Yeah.
if you see the look, right? But I'm also will take the time to talk it out with them. And here's what
Yeah.
happened, and here's what we did wrong, and here, so I have like a mix of both of them. I'm sure that there is a fancy catchphrase for it, but I just don't know what it is.
It's the Guerrero.
Yeah,
It's a Guerrero style.
yeah, it's the Guerrero. Yeah, okay.
I think along those lines, I think what's interesting is like sometimes life will force your hand into something that you maybe would want but wouldn't know to do. Like, great example, I loved, Ellis, she's now 12, almost 13, crazy. She and I have a very special relationship. We would hike together when we were in Phoenix. We would spend time together. We just, all this. When Loic came in the picture, all of a sudden there's two kids. And I distinctly remember sitting on the sofa at my wife's aunt's house because 2020, COVID, everything's going crazy. And she's like, can you get me some orange juice? And I would have 100% every other day gotten up and got her some orange juice. But I'm feeding Loic here on the sofa and he's like trying to go to sleep. And I can't in terms of responsibilities. Mom's outside doing something else. And, so I was like, you have to go to the refrigerator, open it up. The orange juice is on the bottom, pull it out. There's cups in the shelf. And it was this kind of like, it was a mixed moment of like, almost like I'm bummed that I can't be there for her. But then at the same time being like, I would have just made the orange juice. So it's kind of nice that life is like creating these moments that maybe I wouldn't have normally chosen. So I just use that as an example to say like, life's going to get them figured out one way or the other. We can't do it all, like stuff's going to happen. They're going to be better prepared in ways that we never were. And they'll be maybe further behind in ways that we were ahead. It's like, so, if you're a parent and you're listening to this, if you're not, then kudos to you for listening to a parenting podcast. But the parents who are listening to this, don't beat yourself up. We're all out here trying to do the best we can. And I think it's impossible. It's so easy to like overanalyze now. And am I doing too much? Am I not doing enough? And those are great questions to ask. but it's the shame that can come out of it that can really take you out of it. And so, I just say that because that's like, I have to self-talk myself that way
I
sometimes
felt like
with,
you were talking to me because I really needed that
no,
too.
because that's the reality is like life will teach us stuff that we never could, and, from a parenting perspective, from what Kirsten and I have kind of come to this, and I don't know if she heard this somewhere, but we're trying to raise adults. We're not trying to raise a kid. And so if you're trying to raise someone and you're thinking long term, like a 35-year-old kid, you can't teach them what to think. I mean, certainly on some things, but you teach them how to think, right? So that ability to come up with how to do it, how to get the orange juice out of the fridge. Like I can't teach you problem solving is critical thinking skills. Like these are the things that, and yes, it's also kid specific. You could have a kid with high needs. You could have a kid who, like we have Loic, neurodivergent. Some of those rules don't apply to him that apply to Ellis. Ashley, our foster daughter who's 30, in a lot of ways she's 30. In some ways she's younger than that because she hasn't had as many years of parenting that Ellis has. So the way we parent her, or kind of like, we don't really parent her anymore, she's 30, but the way we kind of like interact with her and love on her is different than we would if Ellis was 30 in that part of her life, so that's part of it too. That's what makes parenting so hard is like the varied approach. It's really all improv. That's how Kirsten and I met, doing improv at Groundlings in LA. And we just figure like, that's kind of what parenting is. Like we both know we're doing scene work and we, give us a name, Ellis. Okay. Give us a situation. She's late for school. Okay. And, and what else? Let's heighten it. She has a stain on the shirt that she has to wear for Eagle Wings. Go, and so it's like,
if we can all laugh at the end, then right.
It's a great show. Win.
That's well said. Yes, that is the win. So yeah, definitely taking some of my parents and us trying to feel like this is what naturally comes out of us. I think there's something too, like whether you believe in God or not, I think there's something about, like, you could say universe or whatever, but like these kids were put in your life. They are a product of you. And there's a reason that personality and whatever meshes with you. Maybe it's to grow you. Maybe it's to teach you. But at the same time, you are somehow prepared without even knowing it to speak the language of these genetic or adopted or, peer or whatever, these people that have been brought in your life for a reason. So I believe that too.
Oh, I love that.
I love that too. Well done, Bradley. Yeah, that's,
I rest.
With your little cup.
With the little...
Oh, this is a full-size mug. This is a full-size. I have just giant hands. My hands are huge. This is 18 ounce.
It was like, you just said something so, it was like, it was just beautifully said. And then you picked up this cup that
Cheers.
is, if you're watching, you can see it's a tiny espresso cup. It's the smallest.
It's for double espresso for when things get real crazy.
So it looked like he was going to do a mic drop after that. And he was like, nope, pink cup and tiny espresso cup. Anyway, that was... But yeah, it is interesting to think about how much of our parenting is intentional, or if it's just something that we've kind of has been passed through us, So as for me, I feel like I have quite defined boundaries. So much like my mum had with me, it's like, these are the boundaries. Yep. Derm, I would say, is more lenient.
I think that's how it goes a lot of times. Yeah. Of course, I don't know. I've also heard like when your dad gets home, I've also heard that one.
I heard that a lot growing up. Like my cousins and friends of mine, like, oh, wait till your father gets home. And I always thought I would have that. I really did believe. I was like, right, when I get older and I have children, I'm going to say to my kids,
I'm going to
you
drop
just wait
that
till
line.
Your father gets home. Because I didn't
and
have
then you
that.
get a teddy bear like Dermot and you're like, dang it. Wait till he gets home so he can hug you.
Kids before, right?
Yeah, that's facts, right, Christina? Right, because he's already kind of been through a lot of that, knowing like what to rile yourself up about. Yeah, that's a good
You're
point.
right. He's on his fourth child. I'm on my first child. But there was part of what I saw growing up, the wait till your father gets home, that I guess I really wanted because my parents weren't together. So there was part of like hearing and seeing that was like, that's what people have when parents live together, right? When I grew up, I'm like, I'm going to do that thing that I saw when I was younger. And so, exactly as you said, I've got a big teddy bear. Wait till your father gets home.
He's like, thank goodness. You're exactly right.
Do you know what I
Come
mean?
here.
Yeah, bring
Get
it
in
on.
here. Get in here. Did she yell at you? Come here. You come here. Come here, you. Come here.
So what unexpectedly happened to me is that I became the disciplinarian, which I didn't really want. But we
Which I
have to
find
have
very
that.
hard to believe.
I didn't want to be
Sweetest
that
Donna.
person. I did not want to
Go
be
to
that
your
person.
room, please. Please.
And thank you.
And thank you. Thank you so
And
much.
good day.
And good day, sir.
I'm so sorry, Easton. Excuse me. Can I just interrupt? Please don't talk to me like that.
Hey, that rock that you just threw the wall? Yeah, let's just head over there and take a look at it. Cool. It's a rock.
That is something that I definitely do that I didn't really experience much growing up, and that is explanations, the consequences to my actions, or it was more like you're going to figure it out. Like, no, don't do that. Why? Because
Yeah.
I said so. Time to go to bed.
Oh, that's
Why?
such a
because I said so.
Yeah.
It was just literally because I said so. And that's all I saw
Yeah.
around me. It wasn't just my mum. That was just pretty much everyone around me. That's how a lot of parents parented. I'm not saying all parents, but a lot of parents did communicate that way. It's all they knew. But I would say that I have definitely made it a concerted effort or a conscious effort to explain, and it's not all the time. I don't always have the bandwidth, but explain. There's more of an explanation as to why, and you have a choice. I know a lot of children don't have choices. I didn't have choices.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
I'd say we can do that or not do it, and this is what's going to happen.
Yep.
So I don't know if explaining the consequences. I feel like it helps because I've seen behavioural changes and understanding. At Easton's age, he's 8. I feel like he has a really good understanding and awareness of things. That could be just his personality anyway. It could be the way we parent. It could be, I imagine, a bit of both. But I hope that because I do that, I'm not doing it too much, and I find ways to let him make mistakes and to, not always have an explanation just because I said so.
First of all, when I say because I said so, all of a sudden, like my whole body twitches just a second. But then I realized that usually when I say I said so is because I don't know. Because I don't know why.
Wow.
Well, why?
Yeah.
Because I said so. Because I don't have an answer.
That's
I don't have a good
insightful.
answer.
I don't actually know. But I can't say that.
Yes, because I said so.
Yeah, and that's enough.
So there. Yeah, but I definitely didn't have any of that. There wasn't a lot of time spent communicating. And actually, I remember that, I always remember watching like American TV shows growing up and thinking, wow, there's a lot of explanation. There's a lot of talk. And how do you feel? And that was just something we never grew up with. How does that make you
interesting.
feel?
I never considered that.
At the very end of the episode where there's like the big, conversation with Danny Tanner and CJ Tanner.
That's what I was thinking. Yes.
Yes. And then they like come together with nice music in the background.
Yeah.
A big hug at the end.
Yeah. No spankings on that show, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I was like, God, white people just know how to do it right. It's not
We
all
don't.
white people are.
We don't.
White families are the best.
Have you read history? We do not have a lockdown on how to do it right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm at home. I'm like, oh, Danny Tanner, be my dad.
I mean, I think times have changed, with more and more people having therapy, talking about their feelings now, but definitely didn't grow up with any of that.
Yeah, and I want to throw this caveat in, Donna, because you kind of brought it up. I think it doesn't really it's not super helpful when we blame our parents for things that were kind of cultural norms, from the standpoint of like, I'm mad at you because you spanked me, or I'm mad at you because you treated me this way. That's totally fine, I think, to feel that way. But also you have to understand a little bit of the context from which it came. And I think, like sometimes parents are just trying the best they could, just like we are. There's going to be stuff that our kids are going to look back on and be like, I can't believe my mom did that or dad did that. And we have to exist as parents within that knowledge that our kids will be in therapy just like we are. It'll just be for stuff that we didn't know. You only know what you know. And so, it's easy to be like, my parents spanked, or, my dad wasn't really around, or he was too soft and my mom was too hard. It's like, we should be humble enough to know that like, we're also raising humans who will look back on us and say that was a little bit off, or that was
Yeah,
wrong. So, like, it's just, you got to remember
definitely.
that too. Like, we're trying the best, just like our parents did. You only know what you know. So,
Definitely. I remember, gosh, I must have been a child, because I remember watching cartoons and my mum's like, right, that's it, turn that off now. That's enough. And I looked at her and I was like, when I get older, I'm going to watch cartoons all day and I'm going to watch them as much as I want. And now, fast forward to now, I'm like, Easton, turn the TV off. That's enough.
You're like, Mommy needs to watch her cartoons.
Easton, Judge Judy is over. It's time for me to watch Aquanauts. Scoot over. Looking for that creature report.
But yeah, it's funny to think of how much
Turn into our parents.
we turn into our parents. We turn into our parents. Okay, so I don't know if you're aware of this, but there are 4 established parenting styles.
Oh, maybe 5 now with Guerrero. We just got the 5th one.
With mine.
Okay.
So this comes from Diana Baumrind, and she is a development psychologist who first proposed the original 3 parenting styles. There was also a 4th one added about 20 years later. So these all came out in the 60s, and in the 80s, a 4th one was added. So the 4 are authoritative, authoritarian, permissive, and neglectful.
Oh.
Okay. So they were the 4 established, 4 original parenting styles. But of course, nowadays there's plenty more. So we've got helicopter parenting, which is high warmth, but over-controlling and overprotective. It's linked to anxiety and low independence in kids. There's free-range parenting, essentially the opposite, emphasizing autonomy and calculated risk. Attachment parenting, intense emotional closeness, baby wearing, co-sleeping, etc. Now, these are new, more emerging styles. I'd not heard of any of these, actually. Lighthouse parenting, coined by pediatrician Kenneth Ginsberg. You're a stable presence kids can navigate toward, but you let them face challenges.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, I like that
This is
one.
an
So far,
interesting one.
I'm liking that one.
Snowplow.
I think I know what this one is.
Do you? Okay. Snowplow / lawnmower parenting. Removing all obstacles for your child, and it's linked to poor resilience. Elephant parenting. Prioritizing emotional security and belonging over achievement. And that's popular in some Asian American communities as a counter to tiger parenting, which is the next one.
Yes.
Tiger parenting. High pressure, achievement focused, associated with Amy Chua's 2011 book. So that's high pressure, achievement focused. So Baumrind's original framework remains the gold standard in research. It's been tested across decades of studies. It's interesting to talk about these newer versions. There was a TV show on ABC called The Parent Test. So that was a reality show, and it was 12 families. They all had their own unique parenting style, from authoritative, free range, helicopter, etc., etc. And they were given tasks and challenges throughout this series, and they had to, I guess, really highlight their style and how they would get their family or their child or children to do a certain task. One example is the child was given the task to climb up to the top level diving board, and they had to jump off. And so some children didn't even want to go up the ladder. Some would go to the top and freeze, and some would just go and do it. But what you saw was how the parents interacted with their child to either get them to do it or encourage them to do it, how that played out, and if that was a supportive or just you're going to do it type of attitude. It's worth a watch. It's very interesting to see. And obviously different children are going to respond to different styles of parenting as well. So there were some families where maybe they only had one of the, say they had 4 kids in the family, they would just pick one child to do the challenge. They won't get all 4 kids to do it. But there might have been one child in that family with just their temperament. It's like, I'll go and jump off the thing. I'll do it. I'll jump off the diving board. And then another child is like, I don't want to do it. And they're from the same family. So it's that's what was interesting.
I think also what would be interesting for me as I'm like thinking about it is like, let's just say I was being judgmental, but I'm not, okay? But if I was to say like, I would never be a helicopter parent, and then maybe watching a show like that and you're like, oh gosh, I have those tendencies and I didn't even realize it, right? Like,
that's true. That's true.
Or maybe like pulling out a couple of different things like, oh, I'm more of this. Like I would probably imagine that I would watch it and think like, I do a little bit of everything. But the one that what I thought, it was like I don't think I'm a helicopter parent, but I wonder if I watched it that I have those tendencies. So I'm like, oh shoot.
So you liked the lighthouse parenting, didn't you?
That sounded lovely to me. That sounds nice.
That was the one where you're a stable presence that kids can navigate toward, but you let them face challenges.
That's what I don't do enough. And so that's why I think I would love to be able to be more of that, right? Like I am getting better. My biggest saying for my kids, my husband brought this up the other day. He's like, it's what you always say. I'm like, oh, do tell me, what do I always say? And I tell my kids, problem solve. Mom, I can't do this. Problem solve it. Mom, I can't do this, or this happened. Problem solve it. Because I do find that also as a busy parent, I end up doing a lot of their problem solving because I just don't have the bandwidth or the time or whatever. I was with my sister who's a stay-at-home mom. She has 4 kids from 9 until like 1, right? So these are the ages, 9 till 1. These kids are so self-sufficient because my sister has set it up that way. Meanwhile, there's cereal all over the counter and milk on the floor, but the kids serve themselves, right? Like I'm in awe of these children because my sister set it up this way. Meanwhile, my kid's like, Mom, I ate breakfast. He's 12 and I'm like, okay. So I'm trying to be better at that problem, like problem solve it, figure it out.
But I also think like, let's look at like what we've come from, right? Your mom couldn't be there. So you have a deep desire to be there. Like that's just makes sense, And like, I think there's something, or maybe even just regular compensating. I don't even know if it's over. Like, so it's like,
for sure.
So it's like, you got to be like, asking why, the why I think is so important. And I think that can be a part of the explanation too. Like, you know what, buddy? Look, we always want to be growing and I want to be growing. And this is something I've learned recently. And so, maybe from now on, like, okay, so we're thinking this way toward laundry with Ellis. That girl has, 10 items for one outfit. And then she comes home and changes and goes to the theater and comes home and changes to go out to play. I'm like, we just did a full thing of laundry. That was yesterday. Why do you have a whole basket again? And there's still clothes in the drawer. We're getting rid of clothes,
You turn into Jerry Seinfeld?
What are the people doing with all these clothes? And there's still stores selling new clothes. I don't understand. That's my Seinfeld. But we're trying to figure out, okay, that would be nice if she just handled laundry, right? Yeah. But also she's a kid. So where's that line, right? And so part of that is being like, all right, so maybe it's half and half. Like, so where we are now is when you need laundry done, you're in charge of getting it up to the laundry room, which is just upstairs, not a big deal. But if you run out of underwear, that's on you. If you run out of your shirt that you really want, that's on you. Now, if you've brought it up and you told us about it and you're like, hey, Mom, I don't have any underwear. I'm getting out of the shower. I don't have any clothes. Okay, that's on us, right? So there's like, for us, that's the step forward. But Kirsten's like, I was doing laundry at age 6. I was doing it for the whole family because my mom broke up, which is facts. Also, her mom had a mental break when she was 8. So she had to step in and become mom of the house. And that's a whole nother thing. Eldest daughter, like all that stuff. So anyway, but I think it's like baby steps. Like it's really hard just to be like, So to your point, like give yourself grace also, Christina, like you're coming out of a place of like, also it's like our kids aren't around forever. I want to be around my kids. They're going to be going off. Ellis is in middle school. High school is in a blink. And That's what every older parent says, is like, cherish this time, be with your kids. They're going to leave at some point, hopefully. You know, but then also you don't know life, right? That's why I have this tattoo. Like,
What is
memento
the tattoo?
mori. It's Latin for remember to die. It's the idea that, like, remember, we're not here forever. You know, it came out of a number of really tragic events last year with people I knew. My best friend's almost 13-year-old son died tragically 2 years ago. And it was just like, oh man, life is not guaranteed. So I also understand that struggle of like, I want to care for my kids. I want to help them out. So don't beat yourself up. And also, listeners, don't beat yourself up. But if you're identifying places that you want to grow, then obviously that's something in you too. So I respect that too.
Also, well said. Where's your tiny little cup?
Oh,
You had another cup.
And so
moment.
that's that.
You continue to have these mic drop moments, and then I think the little tiny coffee cup needs to come in.
I know, this is when we discipline. You're going to your room and you're there for 3 days. And I mean it. Why don't they listen to you? I don't know. I don't get it. There seems to be no power left in my authoritative voice.
In your thimble of a cup.
In my thimble of a cup, right.
Okay, so let's think about this. Real life scenarios. How would your parenting style come into play when it comes to, let's see. I've just realized I don't think I spoke about what I think my parenting style might be.
Your parenting style.
Yeah. Because we were talking, I know you were gravitating towards lighthouse parenting. So let me just add.
Oh yes, which one would yours be?
Yeah, I think a little bit of the lighthouse parenting with, let's see.
I like how it's like Donna's ordering to-go food.
I'm looking at the menu.
Which one?
I'll take lighthouse.
Hold the attachment.
Yeah.
I'll take a side
Extra
of
pickles. Great, thank you.
I do feel like elephant parenting a little bit of a lighthouse parenting with a side of elephant parenting. So I'll take lighthouse parenting as my main course and elephant parenting as my side. Yeah.
Extra crispy.
Extra crispy. Okay, so sorry, let's take this back to a real life scenario. How would you handle this?
Oh gosh.
We'll go with talking back. Let's do that one because I'm kind of getting a little bit of talking back these days from Easton. I want to see how you guys are handling that, and I'll share with you how I've been handling that.
Christina.
Okay, so yes, I have a preteen.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, because if you were asking Dad this question, he would be like, "Oh, my kids don't talk back to me." Like, full stop. Right?
That's
like, I don't know what that. I don't.
Kids, right? Because my kids are different with me than they are with Kirsten. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So talk back with me is very much a look, and then I say, "Let's try that one more time." That's what I do. I do the look, then they recognize, oh shit. And I'm like, okay, we're going to try that one more time. And then I allow them to like course correct. And then we move on.
Yeah.
That's how I handle talk back.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'm like, you don't talk to your dad that way. Why do you talk to me that way? I mean, there are those moments too.
Just to keep it real.
Would you ever talk to your father that way? No, don't talk to me that way. So there's, just options. Bradley,
what would be an example of a talk back? Because I want to know. We get it, but I want to know, like, what would that look like?
Let's think of something like, I told you to clean your room.
When you ask them to do something, and then
ask them to do something, they're like,
when you ask them to do something.
Okay, I'm doing it, and they're clearly not. Or
yeah.
In a minute.
We have some pretty good kids, right? Like I've seen some kids who will go full out tantrum with the talk back and the bad words and all the things.
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen at Casa Guerrero Ceballos.
We haven't gotten there yet, but that would be hard to just drop into the middle of that and try to navigate that with much grace. I think for us, it's a little bit different too, because Loic's neurodivergence, he can say things in a way that we know he doesn't quite mean. It's him advocating for himself, and it sounds rude and it sounds disrespectful. And we've learned this over time. At the beginning, I was like, I'm sorry, you said what? Kind of thing. Like, you want to try that again? That's a classic one around here too. So I think the way that looks is a little bit different than with Ellis. And also ages are different and whatever too. I think, for Loic, I think, I think if it was like, go to your room. No, I'm not going to go to my room. I understand you don't want to go to your room. It's time to go to your room. Like maybe that would be something I would say. And if it continued to be a thing, I don't know, like if it continues to escalate, do I physically need to move him to the room? Is this the time to do it? Is he being physical? Is he being dangerous to himself and other people? So I think there's also kind of like that situation. But I think I like the basically like you get one more take and then we're going to address what just happened. You want to rethink that one there, Bob? Okay, great. Yeah.
Because kids are impulsive, right? They don't
100%.
like, I'll give a
Did
second.
you mean what you just said the way you just said? Let me give you another take on that. And then it's like,
yes.
oh,
Right.
go to the room.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Donna, how about you? What's the 8-year-old sounding like these days?
It's more the attitude of when he's saying it, not just like, are you doing your homework? Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just, yes. Like I've asked him 5 times and I haven't.
Right.
And
Right.
Not what he said, how he said it. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's DNA because I feel like I very much talk to my mom that way. I think we're just built that way. Like as preteens, teenagers, kids, we're just built that way.
Yeah, I think it's just starting to happen now. He's 8.5. And so this type of, what? Yes. I'm like, oh gosh, already? You're like, I don't remember being like that with my mum, but maybe I was. I'd have to ask her. I don't know if I was at 8.5.
You should ask her.
Oh, what?
I was.
Was you at 8.5?
Maybe more. No, I was definitely like more teenager style.
More teenage. That's what I was thinking. So anyway, how do I handle it? Talk back is similar to you, Christina. Excuse me. I will do a excuse me. And look, it is a sorry. Did I am I reading you right?
I was with my sister who's older than I am, had kids a lot longer. Like her kids are already grown. And she very much still parents like back home, like when I'm saying like back home. And she was with her grandson now, her daughter had a baby, and he was being difficult. And I would handle it much different than her. And she's like, I don't do that gentle parenting shit.
Right.
I was just like, and that's my sister. My kids were like, had these big old wide eyes.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, did you just see that? I'm like, yeah, that's her. That's how they do it back home.
Yeah. That's cliche too, but like, like our kids don't know how good they have it in so many ways.
My sister's listening to this episode and she's rolling her eyes. It's like, oh my God, what is wrong with these people?
Well, if it's any consolation, up to 70% of parenting behaviors are influenced by how you were raised. So we're all doing the best we can.
Can I just say if you lose your shit when that's okay too. Like we're humans. Yeah, like we just pulled that off. Like we are super calm about it. I lose my shit, right?
Oh, me too.
It's not always like, I'm sorry, what did you say? Let's discuss this.
I have never been more mad in my entire life. Nothing has gotten me angrier than parenting. I've never laughed harder, but there is nothing in my life that has no one has said anything that's made me that angry. No one has done anything. I've never been that mad as I have when parenting. And I'm just like, sometimes I'm even like, I don't know, man. I could just like rock it. I need to walk away. I love you, but Kirsten, you're up. I'm out. This is not good for anybody right now. I got to go. And that's facts. And that's reality.
Facts. And I think that's why.
Because you care. That's why you care.
And there's that understanding of when people reach their limits and your bandwidth is completely tapped out. You can see how and why parents snap, you know, when things
Yeah.
get too much
Yeah.
and you cannot handle it. When my dials are extremely low and I've still got the influx of the amount of stuff that I need to get done. So whether it's lack of
Yeah.
sleep, I'm not firing from all cylinders. When I'm depleted, there's no reasoning with me. And Easton, I think he knows it. I think our kids do know it. I think when they can sense when we're not being our usual self. Even sometimes Easton will come up and
Yeah.
give me a little hug because he's like, "Oh, Mommy's not right." Because I'm cold and I'm just like, everything's shut
Yep.
off. I've shut down.
Yep.
And then there's no,
Yeah.
let me explain this to you. None of that at all. My tone changes. I'm more snappy.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I will curse. F-bombs start
Yeah.
getting dropped. Do you know what I mean?
Let's
I'm
go.
sorry, guys.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
And then I'm
That's
like,
true. That's
I do.
true.
The curse words come
though.
out, and Easton's like, and then I'm like,
Uh-oh.
and then I'm
Yeah.
like, once I've calmed
Dad.
down, luckily it doesn't take me long to calm down. Of it really doesn't. But I will go and speak to Easton, and I will say to him, "Hey, Bubs, Mummy wasn't being her best self then. I'm sorry about that, or I'm
Yes.
sorry if you heard
That
me shout, or
accountability.
I'm sorry if I shouldn't have cursed. Should I? That wasn't very. Yeah, I need to watch my language. So it's almost like I will acknowledge those things. I don't just brush it under the rug and forget about it. It's like I'll
That
acknowledge it
part's
and
the
just say,
important part.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. The
I think so
rebound
too.
is, Kirsten was telling me about a stat. I don't remember what it was, but she was saying that it's a higher percentage that the rebound from the crash or whatever the thing that happened has a bigger impact than that initial event. Like I cussed at you, level here. I'm sorry that happened. I should have, and you can, I was tired. I shouldn't have treated you that way, whatever. That has a higher impact than that moment, which is
Yeah.
kind of good news, because usually it's like the bad stuff. You got to do like 7 or 8 good things to undo the bad. So it's like, that's nice that one's in there.
I just want to acknowledge, Donna, that truth was so important for somebody to hear, because they heard us talking about a calm and collected version of ourselves when they talk back. And yes, that's how we want to be, but that's not always how we are. And so your vulnerability, I feel like
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, thank God, because I just lost my shit on my kid yesterday and I feel awful."
Yeah. Yeah. We've all been there.
I do want to point out and just be very clear on this. And again, not judging anyone at all, but when I say I curse or have cursed, I've never cursed at Easton ever. And you know what I mean? It's more like in my surrounding. Oh,
It's a good boundary.
this, but just to establish, I've never
Yeah.
like directed my swearing at him, and hopefully
him.
I never will.
That's a good boundary.
But just want to clear that up, make sure that but yeah, it's let's see what we've got here. We've got a few case studies and some stats. So here we have something called the Tronick Still-Faced Experiment, research by Edward Tronick. Babies became distressed when caregivers became unresponsive, but when connection was restored, emotional stability returned. So kind of leading off of what we were just talking about, rupture is normal. Dysfunction happens, but repair is what builds trust. So that highlights that fact there. Here we have a UCLA study found, this is discipline versus connection. Kids disciplined with explanation and empathy internalized rules better and showed long-term compliance, versus kids disciplined with punishment only complied short-term and resisted when unsupervised. And then finally, CDC and NIH research, children with high warmth and clear boundaries show lower depression rates, better stress regulation, and stronger executive function. So take that with you. I'll leave you with that.
Put it in your thimble coffee cup.
Go on, Bradley. Give us a little thimble coffee cup. There we go. Okay, so we'll just do this real quick. This is when styles clash. What happens when you have a different parenting style to your partner or a grandparent or a guardian or caregiver that's in your family's life? I would say that, in all honesty, Dermot and I have got different parenting styles, but I think that the two styles are very, very important for Easton. Both of them are just as important as each other. And I think
I love
he's
that.
very lucky. I do. I think he's very lucky having, even though sometimes certain things drive me crazy. I'm like, I wanted to be the disciplinarian, and why are you so lenient? But Easton now gets that lovely balance of two parents evenly. I think it's even, and I think that serves him well.
Yeah, I think you need for lack of better word, good cop, bad cop. And I think that happens naturally. I mean, usually it's almost like when you have two kids, you're like, how did you both come out of the same parenting, the same mother, the same, but like usually one assumes the role of like the responsible one and the crazy one or whatever. Like you do need both of those pieces, because if you're both authoritarian, it's too much. And if you're both too lenient. So I think that's part of it, is like find out. I think it's also like, where do you naturally, what comes out naturally the way that you want to parent, like Kirsten is a very emotionally connecting person. So it's a lot of sit and talk and explain. I'm a doer, and that happens through conversation. So Loic and I'll kick soccer ball, and while we're kicking, I'm like, hey, I heard about this thing at school today. Like, what happened? Boom, he's kicking the ball, like, so we use our strengths that kind of come out naturally. So I think there's something there too, almost like what you're talking about, Donna, which is like, this is kind of who you guys are. And so, like at least start there, because then it's easier. It's going to come out more effectively. That's what I would think.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, I think that it can be really challenging when you have two different parenting styles, especially when you have maybe two very stubborn people who think that their version is the better version. But I feel like for the most part, we also have balance, but it certainly doesn't come without its challenges. And I like to just say, defer to me. I birthed a child. Like they came out of my body. I know better.
I pre-worked this one, so I get this one.
No, there does be compromise for sure.
Yeah, you got to figure out where those compromise points are, and they may not even be obvious. It may be like, we always go to my parents' house for Christmas. Well, we always go to my parents' house for Christmas. So how are we gonna, so like, you got to find those compromise points, and you got to just, as long as you're talking it out, that's already a win.
Yeah. And sometimes you just have to like take the loss, right? Sometimes, you just have to, sometimes I'm like, this is not right. I'm usually proven right. But, I like to let the husband make his own mistakes.
And we make a lot of them. That's how we learn. Sometimes we're just kids too. That's how we learn.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. I hear you, but I'm gonna. Glad I'm not you. I wouldn't jump. Well, I am. Okay.
Ultimately, what we've learned is our parenting style doesn't define us. It's changeable. We can, it's always good to check in with yourself and reflect and, just acknowledge where you're at different stages. And I think ultimately the best thing overall is your connection with your child.
Yeah.
And
that's great.
That they know that they're loved and safe.
Absolutely. Yeah. So for our listeners this week, ask yourself, where am I being too hard on myself as a parent?
Oh, I love that.
Give yourself a bit of a break. And then we can also ask our kids, what makes you feel most loved by me? I think that's a nice one. Checking in with your child and have that connection. But, as for me, the way that I love connecting with Bradley and Christina loves connecting with Bradley.
Here we go.
Is through
see this coming.
a good laugh or two. Okay, guys. Now it's time for Bradley and his dad joke.
When does a joke become a dad?
I don't know.
Don't know.
When it's apparent.
Oh, bravo. And sing.
Okay, thank you. Great job, everyone. Great job. Back to one.
And I loved how the thimble espresso cup made it at the very
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be here next time too. We'll see. You
I
never
like
know.
it.
I change
Yep.
my mugs up
Our
all the time.
fourth co-host.
Well, cheers to that. Cheers, guys. Dink. Christine's got to get her cup. Where
Christina's
are
gotta
you?
get-
The opposite
Okay.
of a
Whoa!
She's got a mega flask.
Bring it in.
All right. Happy days, my
Cheers.
friends.
Happy
Happy
days.
days.
We'll see you soon. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us at The Village Thrives. And remember, parenting isn't meant to be done alone. When the village comes together and supports one another, we thrive. We'll see you next time.
The way you taught me how to love me when I didn't love myself. Way you grant my every wish like a well. The way you took the heat in Texas and cooked it into breakfast, paving the way for me to excel. And there you are back in the kitchen, making my favorites. Doesn't get better than this. Oh, everything is precious when I'm in your presence. You make my world go round and round. Oh, every single second with you's another present. You lift me up when I'm feeling down. Life is so precious when you're around. Everything's precious when you're around.